Welcome to Bag, this series where I am beating all Game Boy Advance games. Get ready to hear me raving like a rabid man, because today we're playing Rayman Raving Rabbids, developed by Visual Impact Productions and released in 2006. This game was also released on the DS, so if you've played that version, let me know if it's like a direct port or not, or how it compares to this version, because I've never seen it before. But before I jump into the game, I just want to show you this title screen. Let's see what options we got. Not much. Dude, what the hell? That guy over there is grooving. The story starts off by saying that Rayman is chilling in a mostly peaceful world when Rabbids attack him and take him and bring him to their den. So this game definitely has a story, but it is pretty basic. I haven't played Rayman in like 20 years or however long it's been. 25 years. Whenever it was like released on the PS1. Aren't his head and his body and his feet and his hands all like floating separately? Therefore, whatever. Yeah, don't worry. The answer to that question comes really quick. Dude, there's voice acting? Where's my hands? So this game starts off with this Officer Rabbid essentially making fun of you for not having hands and then telling you that you are their new special guest. And I guess Murphy blows through this boarded up hole and also makes fun of the fact that you have no hands. So you can clearly tell that they really wanted to answer the question of where your hands are immediately. They also do address that he doesn't have any legs or neck or arms. So like I said, that question was going to be answered really quickly. After we're finished talking to Murphy, we jump down this hole and we start collecting these yellow mothball looking things. Also, something I noticed here is that because we don't have our hands, we can't jump up and hold onto this ledge, which I think is kind of a cool detail. And then we also pass this cage that we can't really do anything with, but it does become important later on. And then we come face to face with this machine that very luckily stops pounding down when you get underneath it. I thought that was very sweet of them to implement that safety switch. We definitely do not want any fatalities in this dungeon. Looks like fisting is back on the menu, boys. Now that we have our fists back, we are able to activate these switches, which open up these jail cell areas. And upon entering them, you talk to these other prisoners, which I'm assuming are probably characters from the Rayman games. I'm not quite sure. And they pretty much just say that they're thankful for you saving them. Although I don't really understand how that saves them because they are still trapped underground. They are just no longer trapped in this room. Moving on, we go back and we can see that cage that we passed earlier, and now that we have our fists, we can destroy it and let the animal out. Each stage has a different amount of cages. Some actually have none, but this cage in particular has 5. And as you can see, with our fists back, we are able to now hold onto ledges. So yeah, that's a pretty cool detail that without your fists, you can't do that, and when you get your fists back, you can. After flicking another switch, we found this other guy that is really grooving. I don't think he's actually that disappointed for being captured because he seems like he's having a really good time. Can I like shoot up? I mean, not in that way. Murphy then lets us know that we are able to use objects that we find and they can be really useful and we should use them. We then find a switch and Murphy lets us know that some of them are timed, so we have to hit it and hurry. And thanks to our stupid ass hands, we end up grabbing this ledge, which makes us too slow and we don't make it. But then we activated some of our pro gamer skills and we made it without a hitch. We then go through this door where we are met face to face with the Energizer or maybe the Duracell Bunny. I'm not quite sure which one that is. And we are basically in a boss fight now. What do I do? What do I have to do? Wait, what do I have to do? So after asking myself over and over what I had to do, and with nobody responding, I took it out on my computer. It had absolutely nothing to do with the 5-foot fan on my computer that was causing some random buzzing. So anyway, back to the boss. So it turns out you have to wait for him to stop moving to hit him, but as you can see here, it doesn't always work. I'm not quite sure. Either way, we eventually beat him, and the little Duracell bunny decides to destroy his remote control. I don't know, guess his batteries might have died, no idea. And then out of the sky, this girl named Lai randomly appears and she gives us this magic necklace that allows us to change costumes, and changing costumes gives us different powers, which is actually a really cool mechanic in this game. We then get this cutscene where she drops a little bit of lore, basically saying that the Rabbids used to be really kind, except they were essentially bullied and now they're getting back at everyone for being bullied. complete. She also says that we have to capture these lums or looms, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and we have to also get our friends back. And that's essentially the story to this game. This game has multiple worlds and multiple levels per world. This is the first one, and the first level is called Child's Play. So right off the bat, you can see how super awesome the graphics of this game are. This whole world is very themed in like schools with like erasers, pencil crayons, even the binder, like the ring of the binder is the bars that you would hold on to climb across. Everything about this game, as you will see, is so well done. It is, oh, it's such a pleasure to play. Oh, you little bitch. Oh, you sneaky little bitch. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool was the fact that there are thumbtacks that will hurt you because it just sort of sits with the theme. I do think the sponges are a little bit weird. I don't see how they really fit into the theme, but that's fine. You can also pick up this tennis ball and throw it onto the tack on the wall to allow you to get up here. And then there's this weird backpack monster once you get to the top. There are also these books that open and close like clams, and you have to just be careful when stepping on them. You're then introduced to this pencil sharpener, and once you go through it, you turn into a miniature Rayman. Like again, the creativity of these levels is just awesome. It was such a joy to play them and figure out what they're going to do next to implement the theme into the gameplay. And then once you touch these stars, you grow back into big, and then you can do wall climbing. I don't really understand how that works with no legs and arms, but he manages. And this game also has plastic blocks with pegs on them that can be connected together, also known as legs. Oh, we're not allowed to use that word? Eventually you get to this part of the level where you have a pencil with a rubber eraser on the end, and then you have to switch to the second character, which is just a cool looking Rayman without a shirt, and he has the ability to do the ground pound, which allows you to get past this part of the level. I mean, come on, when me and my friends start getting our shirts off, we love pounding shit with our asses. So anyway, this part of the level, you can use your hands to grapple and use it as a swing. Then all you have to do is avoid the dripping purple paint, and that's the end of this level. So the honest truth is this game is a platformer. It's like a collectathon. It is a typical sort of Rayman type of game. So each level is going to be pretty similar to the next. Obviously, there's a little bit of differences, but it's essentially the same type of game. So from here on forward, I'm going to highlight differences, anything that looks cool, but I'm not going to go into detail from every single level because like I said, it is a platformer, so there's a lot of similarities between levels. So starting off, this level has these really cool army men, which I think is an awesome addition. They even move a little bit. And then there's also that paint river that you have to avoid because paint is toxic. I also just think it's kind of cool that they ended the previous level with dripping paint, and then it starts this next level off with motes of purple paint. I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought it was pretty cool. After assaulting this ballerina dancer, we are told that the blue lums allow us to fly. And then when you get up here, there's also this robot enemy that I'll be honest, I don't know how to defeat or if it's even possible. And then just when you thought the gameplay was getting stale and boring, they switched up a little bit and they offered floating puzzle pieces. We also then find the shooting gallery that's run by one of these Rabbids, and we actually have to defeat it or beat it to progress through the level. So essentially you have a time limit, you have a limited number of carrots, and you have to shoot all the Rabbids and not your friends before the timer runs out and or before you run out of carrots. And since I'm so awesome at this game, I totally beat it in my first try. And I definitely didn't jump to my death immediately after. Eventually we make our way to the end of the level and we start the next one. This next level is a little bit unique. It's a timed level that has nothing but 100 of these lums, and all you have to do is basically race through the level, gather all the lums, and you're good to go. And the thing is, I found that I think all of them are designed in a way where you can't get all of the lums in your first try. So you play it once, get most of them, then when you play it again, all the ones that you previously got, you don't have to get. and then you just get the new ones. The next level is also an interesting one. It is essentially kind of Mario Kart, except you're the only one, and you just race around the track. Same thing, you just gather the lums, and you have a time limit, and you have to make sure that you cross the finish line before the time limit ends. And just like the previous level, any lums that you have missed, you can play again, and the ones that you gathered the first time are already gone, and the ones that you missed are still there for you to gather the second time. After completing all the levels, we unlock the boss of the world, except you'll notice that we need to gather at least 8 friends in order to unlock this level. So once we go back to the previous levels, gather a couple more caged friends, we now unlock this boss fight. Holy shit, dude, it's like off the freaking steroids. So this part actually was a little bit confusing to me and took me a second to figure it out. I'm gonna throw it up, jump over. That's how I do it. Okay. Dude, the thing's glitched. What the fuck is this? Do I need him? Okay, hold on. If this bitch lands on the ground, does it explode every time? Yeah. Oh. Oh. Yeah, so it turns out I finally, after a lot of trial and error, figured out what to do, and we're all good now. Except we're not, because I still don't know what to do with that little bitch. Gimme! Gimme! Okay, whatever. If I just do that, I don't know how to kill them. In the end, I just allowed them to hit me. I took some damage and then continued on. That's just how I figured out how to beat it, because I wasn't quite sure what to do with those little bunnies. Eventually, we defeated the boss, and she comes back and gives us another costume. This time, she gives us the punk costume, and it allows us to cover stuff with chewing gum. The next world starts off with a Dream Forest, and as you can see, it's a completely different theme. Right off the bat, we have this weird grub looking thing, and then we have this really fast rabbit and these really weird fish, and we're seeing the entire cast right up front. And there's also this like Steam World punk dig looking guy. Eventually, we find some hollow stumps that you actually cover with bubble gum, and it turns into a trampoline, which is just such an awesome mechanic, especially the animation of the bubble gum forming around the stump. It's so well done. The bouncy sponges turn into bouncy mushrooms, and also the totally not Lego walls turn from Lego walls into vine walls. We then come up to this orange on a vine, and if you hit it with your fist, it moves. It turns into a moving platform. Like, this game has freaking physics, man. And even at this part, you use the bubblegum guy to jam up this guy's gun so he can't shoot you anymore. And like, the entire animation for it is just so well done. And at this part, you knock down this plum so you can cross these spikes, and it falls and like deflates on the spikes. And even here, you grab this plum and you throw it on the spikes instead of the wall tacks, and again, it like deflates from being spiked. The next level is just kind of more of the same stuff. There's nothing really notable here to talk about. And then the level after that one is another one of those like speedrun levels where you have to collect 100 looms. Again, it's just in the theme of this world. Again, nothing really too much to talk about. Where the fuck are the rest of them? And last but not least, the last level is very similar to the rest of them. POV, you're at the bar and the juiced up frat boys are threatening to hurt you. Kill me. Kill me, boy. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. The next boss fight is pretty easy. You just have to use the punk with the bubble gum and shoot back these bombs that he shoots. And then between shooting the bombs, he'll also shoot these spiked balls. You either have to jump over them or duck under them depending on their height. After the grueling fight, we unlock another costume that allows us to leave carrots on the ground to distract our enemies. Before beginning the next level, I said this, and I genuinely do not know what I even said. Oh my god, get ready for the summer cycle. So yeah, get ready for that. Honestly, I will say, I'm actually really enjoying this game. Like, I think it's a really well put together game. I'm not a huge fan of like collectathon type games anymore. Obviously that was a huge like early or late 90s, early 2000s type of game. I'm not really into them that much anymore, so I'm a little bit bored in that sense. Overall, other than that, dude, this game is sick. Like, I can't believe we finally got like a decent game. The first level in the next world is another circuit, and as you can see, it's themed like the rest of the game. So here we have moats of what I'm assuming is stomach acid that you have to avoid, and well, I will be honest, I don't really know what these like balls are. Maybe tonsil stones? I don't know. The next level is Living Cavern, and you drop down on this weird heart, tongue, hairy looking thing. Also, you come to this area where you can't make it through, but if you turn into the grandma, you're able to get through these security gates. So I guess, I don't know, grandmas are just so sweet that they can't be doing anything wrong. One thing I will say is that the themes of these levels so far have been so well done that this one falls a little flat to me, because the mushrooms turn into wartier mushrooms, the moving platforms turn into those weird hairy hearts, and then the vines that you climb on turn into gray wiggly string things. It's clear with the title of the first level being Stomach Circuit and the title of the third level being Gastric Rivers that this is supposed to be some sort of like anatomy, so it just doesn't make sense that they didn't go with anatomy type things for this. All that being said, you have to find buttons in this level, and each button will open up a gate at the top of the level. So you have to go through the whole level, find all the buttons, open all the gates to exit this level. Moving on to Gastric Rivers, it's very much the same thing. Find the buttons, unlock the doors, and continue through the level. There are these new enemies though. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be, but they definitely look really cool. And in some areas, they even added some stomach acid fog, also known as burps, I think. So the next boss we have to fight as the grandma costume, and what you have to do is throw a carrot to lure the guy underneath the sack of acid, and then you press the button to drop the acid on his head. After that, we unlock the next costume, which is Rayman with a guitar. The first level of the next world is called the Desert of Desserts. As you can probably guess, yeah, it's all about desserts. We have floating black licorice, we have clowns that throw sausage. Okay, well, maybe it's not all about desserts. Or wait, what? There are also these puddings that we can jump on like trampolines, and then the coolest thing to me is these cookies that serve as like the vines that you can grab and hold on to. Oh yeah, and let's not forget about the angry bread. Tennis balls and plums were so last world. Now we have raspberries and forks. And also this creepy ass cake that looks like a mouth for some reason. And don't forget about the toxic chocolate or strawberry sauce that is coming out of the straw. We also have to use the guitar guy to knock this lollipop head into the orange juice river, so we are able to cross it. And that is definitely a very strange sentence. And to close this level out, we also have these really floppy dancing lollipops. The next level is another kart racer, and it's pretty much the exact same as the other ones, except it's now themed like a cake or a dessert, with like these rolling chocolate covered little donut things. The level after that pretty much just shows off an extremely wide cookie, and then also you can use the guitar guy to knock off the top of the ice cream cone to be able to go underneath. And then the second last level in this world is one of those speedrunny collect 100 of the lums levels. The last level before the boss is mostly the same, except this time we have another gallery, and the only difference with this gallery is that the enemies that we have to shoot are the Duracell bunny, which brings us to the boss of this world. And I'm not gonna lie, I struggled for a very long time trying to figure out how to kill this guy. So the setup is as follows. There is a gumdrop button on the wall here that seemingly does nothing. And then there is this big rabbit on steroids that will one-shot kill you if you touch him. There are also these, I don't know, cookie clusters that fall that will really hurt you. And I wasn't quite sure what to do here. Okay, so it turns out what you have to do is switch to Elvis, use your guitar to bash the steroid bunny to the right wall, run back to the left, switch to Raymond, use Raymond to hit the button. Also, you have to avoid all the clusters that are falling from the sky. Then you have to run all the way back to the right because now there are spikes protruding from the wall. And then you use Elvis once more to bash him into the spikes and give him an extremely gruesome death. We are then rewarded with the final costume and get a super punch ability. Then we are told that we are almost done the game and that the last house leads straight to the Rabbids hideout. Entering the first level of the last world, you'll notice that it is very similar to the place that we started. Also, the bouncy pads in this level are these holes covered with cobwebs. And then I saw this cage that I just could not figure out how to get to. and so I just ignored it. And then I went to play a different part of the level, and then when I jumped down, I ended up hanging on the ledge, realizing that's how you get this cage. And I didn't get all the cages in this game, so I'm not sure if this is the first time it has happened, but I thought that was a pretty cool detail to make it where you have to hang off the ledge to be able to get this cage. This level also has a bunch of Duracell bunnies that are training to become pro dodgeball athletes. And then I don't know if this is a glitch or not, but there is also a Robo Mech bunny that for some reason turned my entire screen black and I couldn't see or do anything. What happened? The game is glitched. Moving on to the next level, it was a little bit confusing at first because it said I already beat some of it. Wait, where do we go now? Wait, what? Oh, this is where we started. Oh, that's kind of cool. So yeah, it turns out this is the level that we started on, and all of our progress that we made, we kept. So this game just kind of looped back around, and now we are exactly where we were, except we entered through the front door this time. But now we have all these different costumes that we can use to now progress through this level. So we have to use the cool looking Rayman to butt pound through the wood, and then we go progress a little bit farther, and now we can pound through this metal grate. I think they call that buns of steel. And then honestly, that's pretty much the rest of this level because we mostly beat it the first time around, and then we find the actual exit, and then we continue on to the next level. The next level is just another one of those timed levels where you have to collect a certain amount of lums. Then we continue on to the second last level. This level is actually really unique because there's not too much to it. You just have to make sure that you grab the blue lums each time, and the whole level is just floating. So if you miss one of the lums, you'll fall, then you'll get hurt by the spikes, and you have to start all over. And the worst part about starting all over is that the yellow lums do not reappear, meaning that now you have to basically try to remember where you have to go next to grab the blue lum that you absolutely need to continue the level. And last but not least, the final boss in this game. And I will admit, I had so much trouble beating this boss that I had to wait and try another day. So what you have to do is avoid these lasers that just extremely lock onto you. Then you have to grab the lum, fly up, hit its eye, come back down, its crotch will open. You then kill all of the Duracell bunnies that come out of the crotch, and then basically rinse and repeat that, except dodging these lasers is so hard. So I was trying to keep track and I counted, and I think it was 43 million times I attempted this, give or take a couple, until I finally caved. I looked at a walkthrough the next day, and I learned that if you just crouch in front of its crotch, you will just avoid all the lasers. And then all you have to do is hit the eye, kill the Duracell bunnies, and do that like 5 times, I think, and you're done. It's actually super easy if you just use this little glitch. But if you don't use this glitch, honestly, like, man, this boss is extremely hard. And then immediately it cuts to a cutscene that says we have destroyed their ship and put an end to their invasion. And then we get this beautiful picture, and then the credits. Oh, I just had to press A. What a crappy ending, but really fun game, actually. That was a really decent game. Oh, okay, no credits. That seems a little bit rude to the developers that made this enjoyable game. 8 out of 10 enjoyable, in fact. I really enjoyed this game. Like I said earlier, I'm not super into collectathons as much, as those were extremely popular in the 90s when I grew up. So I've gotten a little bit tired of the genre, but I still do think that the game was pretty enjoyable, which gave it an 8 out of 10. The controls were really good as well. Having to switch between some characters quickly felt clunky and were the reasons for some boss fight deaths. But overall, they're pretty solid controls, so they get an 8 out of 10. The graphics were amazing. I enjoyed that each world had a unique theme, and while they did just retexture a lot of things, like the tennis ball turning into a plum, turning into a raspberry, it was a very enjoyable game to look at. Plus the animations of the characters were really well done, so that gets an 8 out of 10 as well. The sound effects were great, nothing was annoying, and everything seemed to fit pretty well into the game, so they get a 7 out of 10. And the music was also great. It was a little bit repetitive, which is why it's only getting a 7 out of 10, but I did think that the music was well done also. So that brings the average to a 7.6 out of 10. And with another win under our belt, let's see what we are playing next. The Powerpuff Girls Mojo Jojo A Go-Go.